Wiley. The first time I met Wiley. That was a funny adventure. I was working at Shoppers Drug Mart. I just got my I just got on my first day on the job, and I had this supervisor, right? His name was Wealth, and I remember he was like training me, showing me around, and I see this wily guy. He's like on his knees, right? He's like bent. He's like he's like almost like a girl when she's riding like cowgirl style, but he's on his knees on the floor, bouncing up and down, putting milk onto the bottom shelves. And I looked at him, and my first thought was like, he's either a good worker or he's severely fucked up. But I didn't want to judge. He looked like a good kid, so I was like, you know what, do your thing. Keep on keeping on, right? And then I remember what really stood out to me was the supervisor, right? Well, he looked at me and he's like, I'd avoid that guy if I were you. And I was like, why? I was like, why? He looks like a good guy. He's like, I don't know, but I have a sense that guy's a sexual predator in the making. I was like, that can definitely not be good. Not good at all, right? So, I left the dude alone. I was like, whatever. Started working, started doing my thing. I remember one day we had break at the same time. And I was living in the area, so I used to go home sometimes on break really quick. But I decided to stay that day, and I was in the cafeteria. And it was just me and him, and he looked at me, and I looked at him. And I thought to myself, I'm like, but he better not get any ideas. I'm bigger than this guy. I'll smash him, right? And he looked at me, and he's like, you want to smoke a joint? I was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, a joint? I'm like, fuck yeah. I remember we went, he's like, he's like, yeah, we got to go a little bit far. So we exited the store. And I'm like thinking like, how far? And he's like, my house. I'm like, where do you live? He's like 2 blocks away. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I'm down. Let's go. Funny thing is, the moment we hit the street, this guy just breaks out into a full sprint. Like, it was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I was like, the fuck? This guy broke out into a full sprint. It was like a giraffe. A giraffe. It was like a hungry giraffe. This guy started sprinting down the street. Like, I think he flipped over a car or two. I don't know. That might be an exaggeration. But yo, I could have saw he pushed an old lady out the way. Like, this guy was gone. I was like, the fuck? I remember I had to jog to keep up to the guy. We got to his house. We smoked a joint. I went back to work. And I thought that was the end of that. But nah, that was the beginning. You remember the first time we met my he had like spinga in his mouth.